Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the 97th edition of Cinema Effect. I'm Zach, and I'm joined by Disney's number one hater, Jaden.
Hello.
And we've also got over here the keeper of children, PTA's number one fanboy, aka Fitzy, aka Liam.
Hello. Wait, I just realized what I was, I thought it was your favorite film, bro, movie. I thought that was a question. But we were thinking about that, and then we changed it.
We did change it, yeah. But yeah, I mean, that could open a can of worms about today's film a little bit, maybe. I'm curious about that. But this episode, I've realised, 97, is actually the 100th podcast we've done, which is wild. Now, I'm just throwing that out there as a little fun fact, but you know, none of that counts until we actually get the official episode 100, just so you know. But I just thought it was wild. Like, I was sitting there and I'm like, I've edited 100 of these things, you know? Jesus Christ. Anyway,
plus the forgotten episode, the lost episode.
Oh, yeah, the lost episode. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So in terms of recorded, we've actually recorded 101 as of today. My God. The train keeps rolling, you know, just like life. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Cinema Effect, the podcast where we review and talk about a different movie every single Monday. And this week, that movie is Donnie Darko, which opened in the US on the 26th of October, 2001. It was directed by Richard Kelly. It is a mystery/drama. And the synopsis says, after narrowly escaping a bizarre accident, a troubled teenager is plagued by visions of a man in a large rabbit suit who manipulates him to commit a series of crimes. I did not understand that it was a rabbit suit. That's why the emoji I sent today was like a goat.
Yeah.
I thought it was like a goat.
He
had like horns. Didn't it have like horns? It's not a rabbit.
I guess it was
his ears.
Was it his ears?
It was his ears.
I felt like they were horns, but I don't know.
I thought it was just like especially designed, because like Frank designed it, just like especially designed.
Oh, just a creepy thing.
He just decided to put horns in or whatever it was.
I swear there was no horns.
I thought there were horns for sure. Do you want to debate this, right? Pull the image up. Pull it up. Anyway, I don't know about that, but whatever. All right, Donnie Darko. Now, what are there ears? Do you think?
There is.
I think there is, yeah.
I'm going to have to... I'll look at this in a second. If you guys don't mind... I want to start because I think the conversation's best framed this way. Just someone who didn't know anything about the movie, had no idea what it was, threw it on. What a bizarre experience this film was. And I don't really know how I feel about it, to be honest with you. I can tell you that the film seems to think it's cinema, no doubt. I don't understand the film. The first 90 minutes of it, for me, were a weird blend of confusing and pointless scenes, which are actually pretty entertaining by themselves, and featuring a fair bit of bad acting, which I also enjoyed. And then it plays all of its cards in the last 15 minutes, and I feel like I'm meant to like connect with those final moments. Like that whole final montage was actually very well constructed when you like understand. It's meant to be like the moment where it's like it's all coming together. You know, you understand. Look at the twist, the reveal. And as it was happening, it sort of felt like the film was meant to be like genius levels, like, holy shit, we're blowing your mind right now. And I was sort of just confused, but I did quite like it nonetheless. I don't know. I wasn't bored. I was just flabbergasted by this movie. I'm confused by it. So I want to get that out of the way and hopefully come to an understanding of what the hell this movie is, you know, throughout this. So, Jane, I'm going to go to you. You guys have both seen it, I believe, before. So guide me. What did you think?
I loved it the first time I watched it, but I loved it even more now. There's two ways of watching this. Actually, I think there's like three ways technically, but like there's two ways of watching this film. There's one of taking the story literally and then trying to kind of extrapolate the themes and taking everything as if it's allegory. That's the way I first watched it. You know, I thought it was a normal story, and then all this kind of bizarreness was just allegorical, or you know, for the themes of the film. But then and that's why it was hard to understand, because I was trying to tear it apart as if it was a real film. Not real film, but as if like it was
a literal series of events.
Yeah. But then this is a full blown sci-fi film, and if you understand it like that, then it is pretty straightforward to comprehend, like as in like in the terms of what actually happened. Um, and I think I think it's a better product when you viewed as a kind of parable type thing. But I think if you actually want to understand the film, you have to perceive it as this sci-fi film that it is.
Okay, all right. Interesting wrinkle there, Liam.
Yeah, I mean, I really love the film. It definitely used to be one of my favorite films as a teenager, and I think it's a very. First of all, I think the film's very funny. Just as you said, the scenes by themselves are very entertaining and funny. I think Jake Gyllenhaal is just like amazing in this. Yeah, it's very eerie and weird, and it just like portrays teenage self-importance and like teenagerhood, I guess, like in a very good way, in a very particular way. It's very edgy film, but it's like I don't know, like I think the themes work just in terms of I think what's her name, Christina, like talks about like that book, and it's basically she says a line like the pain of puberty or whatever, or like growing up, and I think that's kind of what the film is about in a way. So like in terms of the literal what happens, I think James Ray just kind of view it as a sci-fi and not try to piece it together exactly, but like in the end he does make a kind of sacrifice, and I don't know, yeah, the film's just kind of about those things and all that, so I really love it.
That's interesting. I can see it working that way. I didn't view it that way, but that makes sense. I mean, I guess I sort of more viewed it as, because this Donnie character seems to be so troubled and is clearly, sort of more, I don't know what the right word is. He seems to be quite, I don't know, he's deranged, or he has, issues, clearly, because he's hallucinating about this weird rabbit thing. I sort of more took it as a look inside the character of like a teenager who's sort of mentally disturbed, or who's, I don't know. I didn't think of it as more of just a holistic sort of view of the teenage experience or anything like that. But I can see that. I didn't really put that together. But my question is, in regards to what you guys are saying about how to view the film, is there an answer? Is there even an answer to why Donnie died in this movie, or like what the whole time travel thing was? Because like I get it, it's time travel, and he seems to be able to manipulate space time or whatever. But I just didn't understand like why he was in his room the second time the engine hit the house. You know what I mean? Like, is there even an answer to that?
So the first thing to kind of say to that is that the whole film is set in an alternate universe. Like when I say like full blown sci-fi, I do mean like full blown sci-fi alternate universe type of thing. He had to die was kind of also part of the theme that Liam was talking about, was that one of the things that the director wanted to do was wanted to kind of emphasize and talk about a lot, was like this kind of savior complex that a lot of teenagers will have. They want to fight the world, they want to change everything, they want to they want to do so much, and they feel like they're the only ones paying attention and realizing and what's going on. And it's meant to be an analysis of that and that kind of complex. But in the case of Donnie, he actually is the savior. He has to die to save the world. Is kind of,
holy shit, really?
Yeah, because he has to die in this. So him not dying. So oh fuck. I had to watch a video on like explaining it, and I was like full on fucking diagrams and shit.
Go for
it. It's like that jet engine was taken. Hold on, fuck. Oh, Jesus Christ.
So, like, okay, the plane, what happened in the end was that the plane crashed, and he had to save...
It wasn't the plane.
Okay, but, like, what would have happened if Donnie didn't do anything was the plane would have crashed, and all those bad things would have happened, like his girlfriend dying and all that. So he wanted to go back and reverse those things. And the only way to do that, to stop those series of events from happening, was for him to die in his room, so all those bad things wouldn't happen. And basically there was like a wormhole in the sky at the end of the film, where the jet engine went through and then went back in time into his room.
Yeah.
And like him dying basically stop that series of events from happening, like everyone dying except him. Yeah.
So he made that happen. Like the whole portal in the sky weirdness is him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, because
That's right.
So he took that jet engine from the real universe, and he brought it into the alternate timeline, so that because it had both. Oh fuck! I don't know. I can't remember how it goes, but like basically he had to do that because otherwise there would have been two engines in that one place, and then the entirety of reality would have collapsed. So he had to bring that engine to that place to die to save all of reality.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize it was like that. But like that's like
holy shit!
It's like extra curricular to the movie. Like you need to. So it's based on the actual book, The Philosophy of Time Travel, which is like a real book that you can read, and it basically explains all this. It explains like, how you're supposed to view the literal events of the movie. But like even me forgetting about all of this, it doesn't really like impact my experience or anything. Like I just kind of understand that, like in the end, he sacrifices himself, saves the day. But it is interesting, I guess, to like try to piece everything together and understand what actually happened.
But I didn't so viewing the film, I didn't get at all from it that he sacrificed himself, right? So am I just meant to take from it that sort of throughout the film as he learns about the time travel and sees the weird, terrible looking CG bubble shit, like is that I'm meant to take from that like he has this ability and in that moment like he decided to it has to be he caused this, right? Like because it sort of just as a viewer to me, like all this terrible shit happens right at the end. And then you're saying he wants to reverse that and sacrifice himself to do so. But it all sort of just happens. And I didn't really understand that he had any agency over it. So, like, you're saying, like, his power or whatever, he consciously made all that happen.
The thing is, it's funny they mention agency because how much agency he has in the film is kind of deceiving. Because that's another thing that they talk about. He talks about with this science teacher about everything's a predetermined thing. Because that's another thing that's in that philosophy of time travel book. But like, so in this alternate timeline, Donnie is the only one that's an actual being, really, and then every other character is either manipulated dead or manipulated alive, kind of thing. So everyone else is kind of semi-conscious of what's going to happen to the end of the world, and their role in the film is to guide Donnie into that position of making that choice. So like, it is. So like, he makes his choice to save the world, but the role of every other character in the film is to guide him into that.
So what is the end of the world in this film?
The actual end of the world, like straight up end of the world. Because
is that do we see that in any form, or is there any threat of that?
So that it's the jet engine. So that's why he has to tear the jet engine off of the plane in one reality into this one. Because if he didn't do that, then it would have been like two of the same thing in one place, and it would have like torn reality apart.
Oh, so okay, all right, I get it. So the end of the world is the breaking down of space time, essentially.
Yeah.
Through the dimensions. Okay, all right. Holy shit, this movie, man. Oh
and
my god.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like once you like look at it as sci-fi, it's a lot easier to kind of perceive. But if you're trying to look for it if you're trying to break these things down individually and see it as like as a comment on something, then you don't understand it. But I think it makes a better product.
Yeah, this is interesting. This is already improving because I just didn't understand. Like, I didn't take anything away from the ending other than I guess time travel was sort of the only thing I took away from the ending. Actually, just watching it. So this is already helping my understanding of that. There's at least more going on here. That totally went over my head. Frank is this man that he sees who's wearing the weird. We've decided apparently it's a rabbit mask. Okay.
He calls him a bunny. Like it is a rabbit.
Yeah.
Hey, Fitzy, I thought you were with me 2 minutes ago. What's going on? You've turned on me.
No. What?
Didn't you say you thought they were horns, right?
Oh yeah, but it was still a bunny. It's a rabbit suit. But those are ears. I was wrong about that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, fair. I mean, they say it in the film.
Oh, okay. I mean, I've never heard of a bunny that has horns. You know what I mean? That'd be pretty cool. But anyway, So the thing with this man is that what I thought is that this entire time, like this vision of Frank, who it ends up just, I guess, just being his Halloween costume from that night, is that it's sort of seeping through, like his guilt for killing him. Is that what that is? I don't understand. What is Frank's purpose in earlier parts of the film before it becomes clear, like, who he actually is? You know what I mean?
So that kind of comes with understanding like the manipulated dead and the manipulated living. So
Okay.
you've got two manipulated dead. You've got Frank and you've got his girlfriend, and like these kind of characters are really powerful, and they're kind of the main driving forces of guiding Donnie to this point of saving the world. So Frank from the start. So all the characters kind of have this idea of of what they need, of what Donnie needs to do, but the manipulated dead are the ones with the strongest idea of that. So Frank from the start knows that the world is going to end, and he has to push Donnie to get to there.
Oh yeah, like
So
remember?
Yeah.
So they flooded the school, and then Donnie met was it Gretchen? Gretchen, is that her name? He met Jenna Malone, the girlfriend.
Yeah.
And then
Worst name of all time, by the way, Gretchen. You know what I mean? God bless anyone who was named that.
Gretchen.
Terrible. Anyway.
But like he says to her, why am I glad that the school wasn't flooded, because we wouldn't be having this conversation. So like Frank led him to flood the school, and then he met her as a result. Then later, she gets killed, and as a result, he wants to reverse time. And she also says like Donnie Darko sounds like a superhero name, and he says like, what makes you think I'm not, in like a weird. I think he's joking, but yeah.
But the thing is, like, he actually is, because like
Yeah.
because like that whole thing about like powers of water and powers of fire, I think is another thing that's like mentioned, and like he floods the school with his powers of water, and then he burns down the pedophile's house with his powers of fire.
Oh, right.
So like, he actually is kind of like the superhero type thing. Yeah.
This shit is wild, dude.
Hmm.
This shit is wild. So, Fitzy, I know you mentioned that to you, like, this stuff is interesting but extracurricular in terms of, like, what the film at its core really
Well, it
is.
is like literally extracurricular. Like you need to read a book to understand this. Or like
But the
a
thing
YouTube
is-
video of it.
In the director's cut, in the original version, there's excerpts from the book on screen, and they explain it a lot better, and it's actually a lot easier to follow. So it's not.
The
like,
director's cut starts with the fucking the song at the start of this movie is so good, but they changed the song in the director's cut, and that's just unforgivable, dude. Like, anyway, keep going.
But yeah, so like it's extracurricular in terms of this cut, but like in the original vision, like this was all kind of laid out on screen, and it was a lot easier to follow.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's weird. Normally, I feel like theatrical cuts are sort of made dumbed down for the audience. That's kind of interesting. Nonetheless, though, I was just going to ask, for you then, like, is the biggest strength of the film, is it thematic? Is it relevant to Donnie's journey as a character? Because I'm trying to wrap my head around this idea that he is some sort of like savior. You know what I mean? And so is it this story about this teenager who is sort of destined to, he's the savior, he's destined to save the world and all this crazy time shit, and in that sort of just going through and that seeing that through the lens of the teenage perspective, you know what I mean? Is that what this story is for Donnie's journey anyway?
Well, first of all, I think that like almost every scene with Donnie is funny in some way. Like, just the whole movie is very funny. Like the dinner scene, his conversations with Gretchen, like the awkward way they meet and stuff, and
Really
I
awkward.
don't know.
But really
He has
quite
this
funny.
like
Yeah.
he's always like Jake is like always like looking down, and it's like very gloomy, and I just think the performance is really really great, and he feels like a teenager. I think Jake was like 20 at the time, so yeah, he's not too old to not see him as a teenager. He does look like one.
He looked like a baby, yeah.
Yeah, I think like you could see it as like about teenageness, or like people with like um, schizophrenia or something, or like some mental illness. And it's interesting in that way. But like, yeah, as I said, it is just a very like endearing character, I guess, to watch, and just also that it's just very funny by itself. So yeah,
But then is the fact that I totally get that. Is the fact that he's some sort of savior, whether that be like whether that's through I don't know, I don't does it if he actually has superpowers or I don't know, whatever. But like how is that I'm trying to see how that's relevant to either the film thematically or his arc, if that makes sense, you know what I mean? So it is like it's interesting
yeah,
to see a teenager go through this, but through the lens of him being like this crazy, guy who saves the world through all this time shit,
I think as a teenager, people have a high degree of like, I don't know, self-importance or something, and that could be. You could say the same thing about people with certain illnesses that see themselves as a god or something.
Oh, okay,
But
yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, I think your ego is kind of the highest when you're a teenager, at least. Yeah,
On average, yeah, but we know that there's some people that kind
um, well, okay, so I don't know if I'm reading too much into that then, but to me, that sort of sounds like there's a sense of irony to it. That it's sort of this look at self-importance and ego through the teenage lens through, and also bringing up the mental health lens as well is interesting. But then it literally being true in this case, that's quite interesting.
yeah, I think so. I mean, looking at this guy's other films, he hasn't exactly made anything that's this acclaimed. I guess some people like Southland Tales, but um, yeah, who knows if he's actually smart? But yeah, that's a good. I don't know, ironic idea, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't. I mean, you don't know how much is like intentional. Is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, like he could just be making this about. Like he could just be thinking about none of this, but I guess that could be.
Oh shit. Oh my god, that's like the fifth way to view the film, if you want.
Mm.
Um, yeah, man, my notes are like really weird because they're just basically all comments on how like certain scenes was either really weird to me or quite funny, and just really awkward. I wrote that apparently at some point there was this sounds spot on, but I don't know what scene I'm talking about. There was an awkward conversation with goofy xylophone music playing. Don't know which one that was, but it made me laugh. I really should have been more descriptive in my writing, I think. Um, and just like I don't know, man. Like this movie's just like it's often awkward, but I enjoy it. Like that whole thing when like Drew Barrymore, first of all, in this movie, just really bad, really bad. But
Oh,
like I
she's
thought,
great, dude. I don't know what you're talking about.
dude, she cracks it. She it was really weird, but I thought it was funny. I don't know, like that when she came out of the school and screened when she lost her job, that was pretty funny to me. I quite enjoyed that.
There's nothing bad about that. She's just like totally. She doesn't have any barriers in that scene. I don't think it was bad acting.
It was. I found the acting bizarre. I will no doubt say that. But that whole scene when she makes bloody Gretchen walk in and sit next to the guy you think's the cutest, and that just the preceding 1 minute of cringe was quite enjoyable to me, And that I feel like the movie has consistent moments like that throughout, where I'm just like laughing at this point, having no idea what I'm watching, just enjoying the movie fly by for that reason, and just like every scene is sort of a weird surprise. I've got no idea what's going to happen next. 1 minute there's engines falling on the house. This is as a first time viewer, there's an engine falling on the house. Then there's awkward teenage romance, and then there's like Seth Rogen. You know what I mean? And it was really weird. And then we got the whole like the little sister does her dance number, and I was like rooting for that. I sort of want a spin off just about that. It
Oh,
also
there is. There is.
what?
Well, there's a sequel called S. Darker about the sister, I think. One of the sisters.
Holy
about the
shit!
younger
Really?
one. Yeah,
Younger one. There you go.
And it's a feature?
yeah, it's directed by the same
Yeah,
guy
I
as
think
well.
so. Oh, is it? Oh.
Whoa!
I don't think it was very liked, but
it's like fucking horrible apparently. So
Oh, okay.
3.6 on IMDb. If you want to check that out.
Oh, I definitely won't now, but actually, that's always so low that I would check it out. You know, I feel like at something that low, there must be like something interesting there at least. I don't know what the hell the name of the dance squad was, but I can't remember. But I thought that was hilarious. I liked all that. It took me so long, way too long in this movie for me to understand that Middlesex was the name of the school, because they kept saying Middlesex, and I was so confused why they were saying Middlesex and what that was about. Just
it's not the same director, but
I thought it was.
Maybe he wrote it or something.
Or maybe I just saw like he had a writing credit because of the characters.
Also, teenagers are just really rude in this movie. You know?
It's a writing credit, yeah.
Dude, when friggin' everyone tells that, when everyone bullies that Chinese chick, you know? That's savage stuff. That's brutal. And I'm not going to lie, I laughed. I laughed a lot. I laughed a lot. Dude, it was like unnecessarily, like, I was laughing at how unnecessarily over the top, like, insanely mean it was, you know what I mean? When they just, like, kept saying, go back to China, bitch. And I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, holy shit. This is, like, crossing. This would be cancelled. This would be cancelled if it came today.
It's different time.
It's fine. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Whatever, man. That shit was insane. And when she was goddamn singing and everyone was abusing her on stage, I was like, this shit is not acceptable. Okay, but I love it. I love it so much. Now I'm going to get cancelled. No doubt. No doubt. One of you going to jump in? Sorry, I thought. I heard like an inhale, like there was going to be a prep to talk.
Oh no, I was laughing through my nose.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, that's I'll allow it.
Wait, I'll say now that the soundtrack is amazing. You know, it's awesome, and it does half the film's work in terms of just like the tone and the eeriness and like, the sense of like grandeur that you get is like, a heart coming from the soundtrack.
Yeah, but it's so hard to, because, you know, obviously watching with a modern lens, to kind of take anything that uses what's it called, the sound of silence, to take it seriously, just due to
I was thinking that what's it called, Mad World.
I
mean the score more.
Oh, sorry. Okay,
But I will say the Killing Moon. So the movie starts with the Killing Moon. It's like Donnie rides his bike and you see the whole town and all the characters and stuff. Like, that's a very good song to start off. And the director's cut started with Never Tear Us Apart, and it was shit because it ruined just a great montage. And also, like, when you first see the school, that's like another great like soundtrack, you know, drop. Go through the whole. You see all the school characters there, and like it's just like one. It's like a tracking shot, but it's like zoomed in, and like the camera's all crazy and like doing backflips. So it's like, yeah. But yeah, I do see what you mean with Mad World, when everyone has like a sad face at the end, and it's like the sad music that's like memed on now.
When Gretchen just waves at his mum.
Oh yeah, well that's after, but yeah.
Yeah, but that's like,
is it?
That's like kind of, you know, oddness that's kind of characterized throughout the film, and it all just makes sense, you know, at the end.
Oh no, I quite like that when she does that. Yeah. I thought that was quite cool, and that even makes more sense now that, like, sort of Donnie sort of saved her life as a result of all this. You know, it makes sense. I got some killer trivia for you guys right here. At the wrap party for the film, Seth Rogen and Jake Gyllenhaal agreed that they had no idea what this movie was about, which is a funny piece of trivia. According to the commentary by Richard Kelly, the man in the red jogging suit is an agent from the FAA, which was so confused by the jet engine event that they sent agents to monitor the family members. Makes a lot more sense now. I sort of liked it more as when they were just making fun of this random fat guy. But but I guess that's some important story context right there. And Seth Rogen's first line in his first ever feature film is "I like your boobs." Sign for things to come.
Was it actually his first? His first?
Yeah. I feel like that's sort of like that moment determined his destiny in
Started
the
his
film
career,
industry.
yeah.
Yeah. Hollywood knew how they were going to cast him from that moment onwards. Dude, that scene when Gretchen gets run over, like the actual shot of her getting run over, that was so funny. I laughed so hard because it looked insane. It looked brutal, dude. They had this freaking doll, and they just straight up ran over it. I was like, oh, that man, that's savage. Oh wow, I loved it. Is there? I don't know if I want to open the can of worms again. Actually, yeah, I do. What am I doing, man? Is there any significance to the fact that the mum was on the alternate universe plane? You know what I mean, with the daughter there. Because I was trying to figure out, like, okay, so she just died. Oh, but then no, because she's back at the end, right? Obviously. So I was I was just trying to piece together like the relevance of that, if there is any.
I think so, because like Gretchen dying, and then his mom and like his sister dying, assumedly, would like give motivation to Donnie to like reverse time. Like even without the end of the world stuff happening, you kind of see like him. You can see why he would want to like go back and sacrifice himself to save just the people that were killed. You know, the people close to him at least.
Oh, so the plane was like the weird black hole event isn't what caused the plane to crash? Like in prior, if that makes sense? So like, was she going to die anyway?
The storm? Because there was like a storm. Oh, maybe Donnie's telling me that though.
Well, that's what I'm. Yeah. Because if that would make sense though. Like if the storm was there anyway and the plane was going to crash anyway, and then he sort of like threw the black hole in there to move. Yeah, right. Okay. I don't know if that's what happened, but that would make sense to me. I did quite like the framing device of the film counting down to, you know, day zero, like following him sort of throughout the month. I quite like that. Adds a bit of, you know, it's simple, but I like the font. I like the fonts, and I like just the idea of adding a bit of, I don't know, I like when films add a bit of time context and building tension that way. When you we understand from the very beginning of the film that we're building to a climactic event. I quite like that. It makes I think it's slightly improved my viewing experience in that, like, I had no idea what this movie was about at all, like the entire time, but without that, even I would have been even more lost as to like why we're doing this. What is this building to? Like, I knew the whole time something was coming, so that helped a lot, I think. I feel like I've dominated the conversation through my sort of just like confusion, if that makes sense. So I don't know if you guys like have other elements to really appreciate, you know?
No, I just think it's like kind of hard movie to articulate what I'm trying to say to, because like it's, I don't know, it's one that I absolutely love, but I don't really know how to say it, you know?
Sure. Yeah.
I think when Donnie Darko talks about when, like, you know, Smurfs don't have genitals, that was really poignant, and you know, just added to the themes of confusion and teenagehood and, you know, puberty, adolescence. But no, that was very funny. Just like Donnie's rants and like Donnie being angry, I guess, like he's like ran against the you know, the coach or whatever, the pedophile guy at the school.
Oh yeah.
That was really great. Like on a scene, like as we said, like on a scene to scene basis, it's just really weird and entertaining.
I really liked Patrick Swayze in the movie too. Like every time he turns up and he does his whole like motivational speaker spiel, you know, I enjoyed that. It was cringe. Like the best part of the movie, what am I talking about, was the friggin' infomercial that they played in the class on the CRT TV.
Oh yeah.
And how awkward it was. That was awesome. I loved that. That was cinema. That commercial right there, man. I'll tell you.
Well, like the teacher as well is really great. Like the one that is like into him and like the love fear thing. Well, you know, like
the one who's also the cranky mum. That was another funny scene actually when she was yelling at Donnie's parents and they were yelling at each other at the school meeting. Like as I was watching it, perfect example of sort of this whole movie for me, where I was like, I've got no idea why this is in the film, but I was enjoying it. I was enjoying it a lot. Oh yeah, and Gretchen's her parents were stabbed. Right? Which one was it?
4 times.
4 times. Dude.
That was so funny, that scene where they are just talking And she's like, my dad has mental problems, and Donnie's like, hey, I have those too.
Yeah.
Which ones do you have? Like it's like a trading card game. They just yeah.
Yeah. Didn't your dad like stab your mom? That was great. That was like amazing line delivery right there. When that guy has said that. I've seen him in so many things since.
Wait, what does Seth Rogen, wasn't it?
I think it was Seth Rogen's mate, or was it Seth Rogen? It was one of the two. They were both
Seth
sitting.
Rogen. Yeah.
They said that one. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There you go, Seth. Put that on your acting reel, mate. It was great.
Mm.
He doesn't need more gigs. He does plenty these days.
I love the way that everything unfurls. I love the way it all kind of connects and kind of after having it explained to me through
Yeah. How it all connects when you watch a video essay.
Yeah, and like looking back at it, like it's actually quite clever. But yeah.
Yeah. So actually, that's another question. Why did he wake up where he woke up at the start of the film? Like, why was he out there? Is there any like heady reason for that, or?
I think that was just part of his kind of illness.
Oh yeah, because he did just keep waking up. Like, he woke up on the golf course.
Yeah,
too.
and then like and that's like kind of like the original like encounter with Frank and calling him away. It kind of that doesn't seem so odd at first because it just kind of seems like as another part of his illness. But then when you kind of re-examine it with a different lens, you're like, this is the start of everything.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I was gonna say I really like the therapist scenes and just little quotes in the film. Like Donnie, like you can see he's actually troubled when he talks about like, he's talking about like God and like how everyone dies alone and that kind of thing. And then the way the therapist tries to comfort him, like if the sky would open up, which is what literally happens, he just says, she says like it would be you and your like the people you've touched or whatever, and I don't know, there's little things like that that are really great. And like the movie has like a whole bunch of eccentric characters, you said, like Grandma Death as well as one of them, and I mean I guess the guy I guess the fat guy is an FAA agent, but he's there too. And
he's there too
and stuff.
I feel like having a jet engine fall in your room is not a bad way to die. You know what I mean? You just never know.
In the alternative cut and director's cut, you actually like see him dead, I think. Oh. And it's like really awkward. He's like, I think you like see half his body or something, like crushed by the jet engine. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Or maybe it's like up against like a bookcase. I don't know. It was weird, but yeah, better not to share that, I guess.
No, I don't want to see that. Sick. All right. Well, then what are we doing for final verdicts for Donnie Darko? What was the film that we were getting this confused with? The other Darko film?
Donnie Brasco.
Oh, that cracks me up. I want full caveat out of the way. Like, I've fully explained every feeling I've had on the film and how of a bizarre experience it was for me. I'll give it and the best way, like, and this isn't so much a comment on its quality as sort of just like I'm trying my best to, I feel like I sort of shouldn't score it, to be honest, but like the best score I could give it to sort of summarize everything I've said is a 6, I guess, because like I enjoyed it. It doesn't, like, I feel like I need repeat watchings and like also repeat watchings of the video essays and stuff. So that's sort of the best summary I can give it. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know, should I even score this thing? It was a bizarre experience, but I did enjoy it, and I'm glad we watched it. I thought this was sort of one of the more interesting discussions we've had for that.
Can I suggest something that's kind of philosophical maybe about your viewing experience? I feel like you're not a person that would... Because, like, I saw this review I really like, this film critic, and he said, like, he didn't really connect the film with much because he'd never had this sense of self-importance that Donnie seems to have. And I feel like you personally aren't a Donnie kind of person, You're not like you wouldn't maybe connect with the self-importance as much. I don't know, like, how true that is, but...
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
That's interesting. I mean, that might be true. I don't know. I mean, I've always thought you were a self-righteous asshole, Fitzy. So to see,
that's what I'm saying.
But I don't know. That's interesting. That's quite possible. I don't know. It's hard to say. Like, I understand connecting with characters more than others based on your own experiences. I understand that. But at the same time, I feel like 99% of characters I connect with in anything I don't necessarily exactly relate to. You know what I mean? And that's not to say this character is, that's not a criticism or anything. It's just sort of like, I don't know if that's necessarily a reason it didn't work for me in that way. I don't know. But it's an interesting thought. Maybe there's something to it.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you bringing it up, though. What are you going to give it, though?
Well, I guess like from talking about it, it would seem like I'd give it less, but I do really love the film. I'm just constantly like, I think it's, I mean, one thing I haven't mentioned is it does like emotionally, does connect with me a bit because like, everyone's sad at the end and then mad when it plays. It's sad, bro. So, dude, how sad was that? But no, 9 still, I guess. It's just really, it's a great vibe. It's really eerie. It's very, very entertaining. I think Jake Gyllenhaal is like one of his best performances, So, yeah, 9 out of 10.
Too sweet, Jaden.
Yeah, I'm lifting it a point, going from 8 to 9 as well. Yeah, I don't know. It's yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
I totally understand this, by the way. Like, it's castle reference aside, like, is the vibe of something that you just love? Like, I guess.
It's just Marlborough. It's the vibes. It's the Constitution. Yeah.
It's the vibes.
Yeah, just the vibe, man. It's the greatest scene of all time. The vibe. I love that so much, man. Cool beans. Let's transition into news chat, and let's talk about this Obi-Wan Kenobi trailer.
No, you're
now,
right.
I've proceeded to talk about this goddamn trailer with everyone and their mum that I know. So I want to pass it to you guys right away. I want to know, Fitzy, how you felt about it.
I don't know. It was fine. I don't know. I'm excited to see what's his name. Joel. Is it Joel? Joel Edgerton?
Oh yeah, Joel Edgerton. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that guy. That might be fun to see Ben, but I don't know. It was okay. I've already forgotten about it, so. Moving on.
We'll piss off then. No, I'm very interested in Joel Edgerton too. Actually, like seeing that one little scene, I feel like that we get of him. It was quite interesting. That one shot that we get of him in the trailer where he's facing down against that new third sister Inquisitor character, like. I feel like that actually told me everything about his story in this show, on the spot, where it was like, oh, the Inquisitors come to Tatooine to look for Obi-Wan. They're intimidating the townsfolk. They face him down, and he's going to have a problem with this because he's going to feel that Luke is threatened by their presence, and Obi-Wan is perpetuating that. So therefore, that's why he has a problem with Obi-Wan, and that's why he has a problem with him in Episode 4. And it's like, I sort of got all that from the one shot, and I think that's probably what it's going to be. But nonetheless, I'm interested to see like how that tension grows, and I'm assuming they're going to have sort of conflicts of interest, and Joel and Ewan will have scenes together about that. So I'm curious about that as well. What do you think, Jan?
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. There's obvious issues with the makeup and design of some characters.
We can do that if you want.
I mean, come on. We've created excuses in the past. But like the Inquisitor is kind of,
Chip.
Yeah, I mean, and like people the one that people love to bring up is, oh, you always complain about this, but what about Dooku from live action to Clone Wars? I mean, it's a fucking stylization of a character to fit the theme of the show. You design your characters appropriately. So when you're bringing him to live action canon, fucking design them appropriately, And like when you have like what are these people called from fucking Utapau? Are they called Utapauans?
Utapauans or whatever the fuck. Yeah.
Like when you have previous iterations of them that look dead on, like to like the Rebels version, or like that just look better than the current version. This is a fucking multi-billion-dollar corporation. They can throw any amount of money they want at this project. They should be able to, have the money to do a better job at that. And then, it's like, oh, but the actor has to sit in a chair for fucking 4 Well, they get paid for to sit in a makeup chair for 4 hours and get this shit done,
Yeah.
Like, I mean, obviously it's a small thing at the end of the day. Like, I don't really care that much, but like, it is kind of annoying.
Yeah.
The same with the other. Who's the other Inquisitor? The other brother one?
The fifth brother, who Sun Kang is playing. Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't look good at all either. I mean, he looks alright, I guess, but like he doesn't look.
He looks better.
He looks better, but he doesn't look like his Clone Wars Rebels counterpart. But I'm very excited for the show. I think it looks awesome. I think like the kind of I love the vibes of like the kind of more urban kind of shots that we get. I love this kind of feels very
another planet.
Yeah, it feels very underworldy type thing, and like I would really like an exploration of that more. This new Inquisitor looks great. You know, regardless of how the Grand Inquisitor does look, I am very excited to see his character again. I think the Grand Inquisitor is such a great character. So I'm keen to see that. Obviously keen for more Ewan. Yeah, I'm very keen for this. Yeah.
Keen for those Hayden flashbacks?
Oh yeah, big time.
Dude. Yeah, I mean, I'm stoked for this. Like, the music choice throughout the trailer, first of all, was sensational. And, I mean, obviously, like, just straight up playing Duel of the Fates is an easy win, no doubt. But, but then once, and I was like, okay, that's awesome. But, like, you know, you knew what you were doing there. But then when it transitions towards the end into a fully redone Battle of the Heroes and then into Anakin's Dark Deeds also, like that was when they showed me like, oh, they're not just like throwing Duel of the Fates in the trailer for easy hype. Like, they're actually using the music and redoing it and like rescoring it, and it's going to be part of the show. You know what I mean? Because it would be different if they just threw those songs in there, but those were new orchestrations. So that made me quite excited for that reason. I mean, yeah, in terms of the Grand Inquisitor, like, no, it doesn't look good. And I'm a defender of, and I have been a defender of these live action transitions. And this is by far like the hardest to defend. It's not super easy to defend at all. And I'm not really going to try because I don't want to.
Well, I think another one was that I was okay with Cad Bane. Like, I wasn't overly happy about it, but I was okay with that. But then I saw that we have had his species live action before, and it looks infinitely better as well. So then, like, that's kind of turned me on Cad Bane as well, of like where I'm like I'm against it as well now.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah,
because
I
just thought it was like, the first time bringing that character to live action canon, but then no, we have had that species before, so like they could have done a better job as well.
Yeah, I mean that is for the Grand Inquisitor specifically. Like, it's that, of course, that episode 3 comparison image of the dude who looks so much better in that film. My thing is, like, I understand the restrictions. I understand that they probably couldn't get the design they wanted to have the mobility they wanted and all that sort of shit. I get that. My whole thing with it is, though, is that then make a creative decision not to use the character. I feel like it's that simple. If the character's going to look like shit, don't use them. I feel like it's not that hard, especially when, dude, Jason Isaacs' performance in Rebels as the Grand Inquisitor is sensational. Love that. I love Jason Isaacs, full stop, of course. Never forget Lucius Malfoy. Love him. So it's even more like a double sort of blow when it's like, oh, he looks bad. In Cad Bane's case, if you didn't like Cad Bane, it's at least, oh, but it's still Corey Burton, though, so that's cool. In this, it's like, nah, he looks shit, and it's not the voice either. So it's sort of just like, oh. So now we just get like this weird looking version of the character who's just got a generic British evil accent. So it's like, oh, okay, whatever. But yeah, it's, it is what it is. We're Star Wars fans. We love nitpicking that shit. But overall, I'm very into it. They made a very deliberate decision with this trailer too. They showed us a lot of what we'd expect from this show, which is Ewan hanging out in the desert. They showed a lot of that. And they also then, in terms of, they know they have to give us something a bit more in a trailer. So they then decided to lean into the Inquisitor aspect of it. So we see Fortress Inquisitorius, which was awesome to see in live action. We see their little base there in the ocean. That was awesome. So they decided to sort of reveal that aspect of the show to sort of have us cling on to, wow, we can see Ewan, that's awesome, but that's not enough. In a trailer, they show us the Inquisitors, that's great. Then they're saving, I presume, what will be like the actual real compelling new stuff with Vader for the show. So that's what I'm excited to see. They released that image of him, of Vader in the show, and he looks like Vader, so I'm down. I don't know if you can expect much more than that.
His suit got patched work updates,
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm super into it. I can't wait to see how they handle Hayden in the show and how they handle that relationship. And because we're going to see, no doubt, we're going to see Obi-Wan learn that Anakin survived and that he is Vader. We're going to see that. And that's the aspect of the show I'm really excited to learn more about. And, of course, the flashbacks and all that. So all that remains a mystery. with the Inquisitor stuff sort of also going on at the same time. So there's a lot going on, but 6 episodes, it should be dope. It should be dope. One and done, limited series. I'm into it a lot.
Oh, there's not going to be
Of course I am.
another season.
No. I mean,
Oh,
I guess they can always change their mind, I guess. But no, they are. It's a 6-part film. That's what they continue to say, because this is the first. This is the first show that they've done that is directed only by one person. Deborah Chow is directing the whole thing.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
And there's a clear difference in creative direction by doing that, of course. So I'm confident in that, and I think that overall that gives me more faith than that the story is complete in itself. You
gotta have hope, Zach.
Who do the Inquisitors work for again?
Hope
Are
survives.
the Inquisitors Vader's things, or are they Palpatine's things?
Well, they sort of their own thing, and then I guess they sort of exist under Vader. Yeah.
So doesn't he fight one of them somewhere in
Vader?
Fallen Order? No.
Vader.
Does he? No.
Vader fights you. He fights Cal.
Oh,
Does he not fight the Inquisitor in Fallen Order as well, or is that different? No. Okay.
Oh, he kills the Inquisitor. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he does because she failed. Yeah, it's like, it's the same like you failed me for the last time stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The sister.
Yeah. It was really cool to see that place in the trailer. So more video game to live action stuff. That's cool too. All right, Amazon is developing a God of War series. That is all we know. Yeah, we'll see. This is like probably a Last of Us situation where I start seeing images and we start getting castings and stuff. Like I might sort of start to be able to visualize it more, and sort of be able to understand what it could be and look like. But at this rate, I'm sort of just like, I don't know who you cast as Kratos in live action. Like, I don't know. It's just, how do you do that? How do you pull that off? It's sort of just hard to conceive.
Johnson, obviously.
Triple H should be Kratos. He looks like Kratos. Yeah. So I don't know. It's interesting. Another whole question about it is, of course, what the story will focus on, whether or not it'll be sort of the Greek mythology of the original games or the Norse mythology of the reboots. That's sort of another interesting component. My personal bet would be that it focuses on the Norse stuff because that's sort of what's popular in pop culture right now, and then they can do Greece through flashbacks. That sort of makes the most sense to me.
Do you think they're going to go for the same no cuts camera work?
Yeah, they'll nail that. They'll pull that off.
Yeah.
No, that'd be something. Can you imagine that? 1917 it. Yeah. That's so impressive, by the way, that game never cuts at all. Like, it honestly still blows my mind that they did that, and it totally worked. I assume the sequel will do the same. Would this be a watch for you, Fitzy? As we know literally nothing about it, you have to make a decision.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, but I'm just thinking, like, the Wheel of Time, the first season is already kind of out, right?
Yeah.
And it hasn't really picked up in, like, popularity or anything. And that was, like, so it's $80 million for the first season, and it doesn't feel like it's earned any status or anything, so... I mean, obviously, I always hope this series is going to be good, but, like, Lord of the Rings, I'll watch, but... I don't know. Like, it's weird that these, like, big budget things aren't really picking up on Amazon, but hopefully they will after Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, no, totally. I think Lord of the Rings is the real testing bed for them because we know Amazon's doing Fallout as well, so it's like... I feel like they're in a position where I feel like as fans of these things, we're the most skeptical towards Amazon, I feel like, of all the streamers. Maybe I'm projecting, but I feel like that's the way I feel anyway. Just because I feel like they haven't really proven themselves with anything really beyond The Boys, and that's a good show, but outside of that, like this, if Lord of the Rings is good, that I think will sort of really help give us hope for all these other things coming at the same time. If not, I think it'll just, be even worse, obviously. What do you think, Jaden?
I have no attachment to God of War franchise. I've never played it, never watched it. Don't particularly care for any of the characters or anything like that. I know it's acclaimed, so it's a Sony IP, I guess. They've got me there at least.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Casting will be interesting. I guess wait for the cast and then also.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. This will be part of the new PlayStation cinematic universe that we got. Started in Uncharted. Remember that? That was great.
Actually, would it be? Because like,
I mean, it'll have that intro
it'll
at the
have
start
that thing, right? Yeah, okay.
The MCU PlayStation intro,
Yeah.
which I still like, dude. When that came
It's
up,
so
like,
much better though. Like, it's honestly,
it is
so much
really
better.
good,
Yeah.
dude. When that came out, that was like a nerd moment for me, where I'm like, this is really like, it's dumb, of course, but it's like really cool that like all these like PlayStation characters are now literally staring in front of me on a cinema screen in this universe thing. Like, it's kind of cool, to be honest. But yeah, we'll see. We've also got Florence Pugh and Austin Butler being cast in Dune Part 2.
Isn't it just rumors?
I think they're pretty reliable reports. I can check. But either way, I mean, well, let's shoot for the sake of it that they're in it, just for the sake of this, before I confirm. So yeah, I mean, that's cool. I like Florence Pugh. I don't know who this other guy is, but apparently he's a friend of the show somewhat, So that's cool. Apparently Florence is playing a princess. I presume that would be a princess of the Sand People, right?
Yeah, I think so. I was just like
the Tusken Raiders. Princess
Rulian or something. She like narrates the book.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but I think. No, I don't want to spoil anything. It's all good.
Okay. Oh, they're variety reports, so they're very solid. Okay. And apparently Elvis Man is playing this guy called Fade Routher, who's a villain, apparently.
Oh, it's Skarsgård's nephew.
Wait, hang on. Isn't Batista his nephew?
No, I think Batista's just a commander.
No, Batista. Hang on. Batista calls Skarsgård uncle, right? In the film.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, I thought he was.
I'm pretty sure I saw I'm pretty sure I saw that Butler was meant to be playing a nephew.
Maybe he's got another nephew. Batista's cousin over here.
Damn.
Maybe.
Dude, is Dune's out on Blu-ray, right?
Yeah, it's behind me.
Oh, but that's 4K. Is it out on Blu-ray?
Yeah, they all release at the same time. It's the Blu-ray.
Yeah.
The Blu-ray's in it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, so apparently Dave in Part 1 played a guy called Glosser.
Yeah, I just saw. Yeah, it says that Butler's meant to be playing Fade Routher.
I thought he was Fade.
Which is like
Oh, okay.
Which is yeah.
But he's a Skarsgård man. This guy. He's a whatever their name was. He's
Baron Harkonnen.
Which
is interesting because isn't it in the first? I swear, like in the first meeting of Baron in the book, the nephew is in the meeting, right?
Yeah, that's like why I thought he was Fade the whole time, because Fade is always like his right hand man,
Yeah,
because like, in the movie that's what Dave is.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if like this whole news is that the Elvis guy was recast, like he's Dave Bautista's character?
Yeah, like he's like a younger version of it's him.
It's just the same. No, it's not even like younger. It's like straight up the same. They just recast it. It's just him now.
40 kilos of makeup to make him look like Dave Bautista.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
He needs to hit the gym hard. All right. Well, now it's time for our highlights of the week. Jaden, what have you been watching?
I've been kind of working my way through. But like it's the only thing I have been watching this week. I've been working my way through the DC animated canon.
Oh yeah.
I kind of just want to watch Batman stories at first. That was kind of like my goal, but I think like now I'm just going to expand it to like all animated stuff. There's some good, there's some bad. Actually, I wouldn't say there's anything bad yet. I think there's some average, but like for the majority of it, it's all been pretty good. DC is famously dominated like the superhero, just like animated medium. They just tell better stories in a more creative way, and it has been for a long time. The only thing Marvel's kind of had to compare it with is like X-Men 92, but like even that's kind of not really anywhere near it doesn't really hold the regale of the animated series or like any of the movies.
And that was ages ago too.
Well, yeah, true, yeah. And then like in the 2000s, like Marvel just had fuck all and animated. So
yeah.
In kind of watching so many, you kind of get these repeat directors. Jay Oliver is kind of like the most famous one, I think, I think he's the Dark Knight Returns one, right?
Oh yeah,
That
sounds right.
Yeah, and he also did like some of the like Assault on Arkham's and like Flashpoint and shit like that. But it's actually, I don't know. I'm kind of having a weird time with his films where they're kind of in the middle. It's kind of Lauren Montgomery's ones that I'm actually really liking. And she like did Doom and then like the Superman, Batman, Apocalypse stuff, and like they're actually really good Justice League stories. Just like far better than what we've had put on screen like by Zack Snyder. You know, I like Batman vs Superman, but like it's still got nothing on these kind of animated outings. Yeah, I don't know. They're just fun tales with very familiar characters. I kind of love the roster that we get, and it's kind of always evolving between films of who's there. Obviously, you have your core Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, but then the rest of whoever fills out the rest of the Justice League kind of changes quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's been a fun journey so far.
I feel like whenever I look at the cast list for these movies, like the people playing the main characters changes every time, but they're always someone famous. That's sort of what I noticed.
Like it kind of like swaps, like for Batman, it kind of like swaps between like three people of like Kevin Conroy and the other blokes. Bruce Timm, I think, is that the other one?
And bloody what's his face, Weller.
Jason O'Mara, I think, plays him a bit too.
Oh, okay.
Or is that someone else? Yeah.
Who's the guy that plays him in Returns? It's bloody what's his face, something Weller, right? I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah. But no, these are pretty. I mean, for fucking under 80-minute films, you know.
Yeah, that's a huge pro for me too that they're so short. Did you watch Batman Year One?
Not yet.
Okay. I started it, and
I'm kind of doing it while I'm doing homework, so like I don't want to put Year One on yet because that's one that I want to focus on more. So like
Oh, okay. Yeah, cool.
But anyway, you started it, and
I just got bored. But yeah. But
that's one of Lauren's, so I'm actually keen for that one.
Cool. Yeah. It sounds like a fun way to do homework, actually.
Oh yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, for sure. Fitzy, what's up?
You know what? I'm going to steal your guys' idea and let
here we go.
one of you choose. So, because I have no idea what to say. Where's my camera? There it is.
Go for it, Jaden. It's all you.
What do you want to hear about? Not Donnie Darko, because I already talked about that one.
Did you?
I want to hear you talk about Young Adult with Charlize Theron.
Oh, really? Okay. Young Adult. It's okay. She's like, she's
a different one.
If you want, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. She's a meanie. She goes back to the town where she came from, and she tries to get back with Patrick Wilson. Who wouldn't want to get back with Patrick Wilson?
Dude, what a couple that is. Holy shit. My God.
But then they're not a couple because he's married. So she tries to break the marriage. Yeah. Oh, she tries to
break it, dude. Smash it down. You know what I mean? We need to see that.
But I don't know. It's kind of, light and cheesy and it's alright. You really should have picked that one. That was first game.
Can you talk about The Graduate, actually?
The Graduate. Yeah. That's a better choice.
Actually, can you talk about Fallen Angels? I want to hear what you say.
Which one?
Maybe Fresh would be the better discussion. I don't know. Just spoiled for choice.
Fine, I'll choose. Okay, I'll talk about Fallen Angels. I saw Fallen Angels, and it was interesting. Luke hated it. It was like, so I thought it would be an action film because the action is directed in a very weird way. It's like really, there's a lot of slow-mo and very like abstract. You don't know what's happening in the action, kind of. It's very stylistic. It's Wong Kar-wai. He's very, a very acclaimed Asian director. Um, yeah, so I was kind of expecting an action film, but it's very all over the place and kind of it's very non. There's no story really. It's just very you follow these characters that kind of want to get with each other, and there's like 4 or 5 of them that you follow, and it's kind of you don't know what's happening. And yeah, this Zach, you would hate it, Zach. You would just straight up hate it.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. But the ending is really cool because you see kind of 2 characters get together, which you weren't. Initially, I didn't even recognize that he was one of the characters, but the resolution for the girl was really good. So, and the motorcycles, like the way they're shot, is really cool. Like the camera moves all over the place, but sometimes it's really like, oh wow, that shot is really amazing, you know. So I was really like, I was bored most of the time, but then I just started to like appreciate the cinematography, you know, and the
Cinnamon.
The cinnamon.
cinnamons.
Cinnamon's good, man.
But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. It's definitely wasn't the hype that I was expecting. But sorry, Andy. But
Whoa.
yeah, it's a good movie. I would say it's very technically like impressive, and it's just.
I'm very. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I thought you were done.
Yeah, well, I'll say like it's a very weird. Like one of the scenes is just like the hitman goes to McDonald's, and he meets this really weird blondie chick, and she, you know, tries to lead him back to his apartment, and then I don't know, they're very lonely, and then you know that goes on for 5 minutes, and then you know next random scene. So that's kind of what the film is. Yeah.
Cool.
Anyway, what were we saying?
That's wild. Oh, I'm very curious about. You watch this at Film Club, right?
Yeah, I think
How
like the film, the production was very good. It was like I'd rather watch it just on a Blu-ray TV, like on a TV. But yeah,
How does Film Club work? Do you just head there and watch the film? Like, is that literally all it is?
yeah, it's just a theater, so like a lecture theater kind of thing, but like a smaller one, but like around. It's more of a viewing theater, but
Oh, okay.
there were a few people there this time, so yeah.
Wait, there wasn't last time.
Not that I. There was like 10 people last time, and there was like 50 there, but like
Oh, that's weird.
there was. Wait, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, I didn't talk to anybody except Luke. Yeah.
So it's basically like you don't talk about it afterwards. It's basically just like a screening.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Okay.
Unless you wanted to insert yourself into a conversation, yeah. Just sit next to.
I mean, who wants to do that, man? Honestly.
Hmm.
When I always sort of pictured the Film Club being like when you talked about Mad Max, like I pictured it being like you watch Mad Max in your own time and then you go in and talk about it. But I guess that's this show.
Well, that's what the book club was. Like you just talk about the books in the because you can't just read while you're there.
Yeah.
So it take a while.
No, definitely, yeah.
But yeah, it's just like a screening and you get pizza. So.
Oh, dude. God, you could have mentioned that at the start. That's the main.
Yeah, well,
draw
you
there.
pay $5 at the start and then you get pizza every time. So it's worth, dude.
$5.
Oh.
Fuck.
Oh man. All right, that's cool. I like that a lot. I watched Pixar's newest film, Turning Red, which came out, I don't know, about a day and a half ago now. Dropped on Disney Plus. Low key disgraceful, by the way, that Disney keeps doing this, where now this was meant to come to theaters, and now they've just relegated. Oh yeah, it's a new Pixar original film. Yeah, that's just a.
So this is an actual
thing
Pixar film.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't it have Disney Plus original tagged on it? I thought it was always meant for Disney Plus.
It wasn't, but yeah, it then became that, and they threw it on it. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, I just a bit of an aside. I'm sort of interested in I don't know if concern's the right word, but in the fact that Disney has now done this multiple times, where like during COVID it was a different situation, of course, but now it's sort of like you haven't really got a reason to, and now you're just throwing it on Disney Plus. Like, is this the future of? Because Lightyear's in theaters, so is this the future of all new Pixar IP, where it's just they're all just going to be Disney Plus originals, which is kind of weird. I don't really know how I feel about that, but anyway, the film's awesome. I watched it and threw a 7 on it last night, and I'm already sort of feeling higher on it than that, and feel like it's an 8. But you know, whatever, it is what it is. Yeah, I really really enjoyed it. It's cringe in the funnest way possible. It is. You have this sort of core cast of like 13, 14-year-old girls. And there's a lot of like boy band sort of style, like cringe and moments in there. But the pacing is ferocious, and it is like the first 5 minutes is like jarring, it was to me anyway, where it's like just so over the top, like anime style, like visuals and crazy, like introducing you to all the characters, like insanity, like really weird, bizarre moments and humor. And it was sort of like insane. I sort of couldn't believe what I was watching for a second. And then you sort of get in the rhythm of it. And the story, as all films do, finds the themes find its core, and you understand what the film's about very much by the end and its message. And that's all great stuff I love about Pixar films. But
what do you think the message is about?
it's about your relationship with your parents and puberty and that sort of thing is what the film's about. Spoilers, not really. But Jen, what it's really about is this 14-year-old girl can turn into a giant red panda, which is, if that's not all you need to be sold on a film, then I don't know what else can sell you on a film. You know what I mean? But the thing about that premise is that I don't want to spoil anything, but the film is very surprising and it's very funny overall. It's probably the most fun I've had in a Pixar film in a long, long time. Like it is genuinely it made me laugh out loud probably once every 2 minutes, and I thought that was quite impressive for me anyway, as a sad old sack I am. And tons of personality. The most interesting thing about the film is that the story is so surprising, and I guarantee you, like, and I don't want to build it up like it's the most insane drama you've ever heard or anything like that, because it's not, but I guarantee you, just based on the premise alone, you won't guess where this film goes. And it is like, it was a really fun experience where it's 90 minutes, and literally every 10 minutes, like something new happens that I wasn't expecting. And I'm like, oh, I guess the film's going in this direction. And then 10 minutes later, it flips again, and it flips again. And it just keeps happening where you've got no idea where the next scene's going. And it ends in a really, really fun place. It's a great time. Every single time you're like, oh, great. She can turn into a red panda now. Now the whole film's going to be about her having to hide that and come to terms with that. 5 minutes later, it throws it out the window and does something else, and that keeps happening. And for that reason alone, it was a really surprising and fun watch. So highly recommend it. Pixar doesn't miss, unless it's Luca. You know? So yeah. But of course, I'm a Pixar fanboy, so take that with a grain of salt, if you want. All right. As always, we'd love you to submit that's the next part. As always, we'd love you to hand the show over to you. This is the question of the show part, guys. Last week we asked you, what is a film you will never watch? You will never watch. Aiden came in with all different angles on this one, which I love. Aiden said, morally, any Serbian film.
No. Not any Serbian film. A Serbian film.
Is that not the same thing?
No. A Serbian film is a very famous kind of...
Oh, it's a film.
Yes. It's a...
I apologize.
Famous film. It's kind of very... It's about the porn industry in Serbia, and it kind of goes to the extreme lengths.
Interesting. Okay, I didn't know that. Thanks for the correction there. God, that sounds really interesting, actually. Personally, Catwoman. That's a good call. Horribly, Human Centipede. Religiously, Storinsky, am I saying that right? And The Mysterious House.
Oh, I had to look at that. That looks fucking weird.
I don't know what that is. That's... Okay, that's cool. I mean, Human Centipede, dude. Human Centipede is a film that I've heard about, and Aiden said it here, it reminded me that it existed, and then I IMDb'd it, and I agree. I don't need to see that shit, Scary as. Andy said, some little Chinese film called Upcoming Summer. I think you guys might have heard of it before. Might try to stay away from that. Jane, how do you feel about that?
I'm fine with it. I want to gatekeep this movie, so I don't care if I like it. Yeah.
Well done. I like gatekeeping a lot. It's really good, really positive. Luke said, a movie I'm never going to watch is Ambulance. Michael Bay can suck it, Jada.
I like how there's two directed at me this week.
Yeah. Try not to take it personally. Ambulance is not a bad shout, actually. This is quite a fun question, actually. I kind of enjoyed it. Liam, what did you come up with?
Well, you know what? That actually just made me think of something. So I was going to say Salo, however you say it. which is, I don't know, about, stuff.
Wait, what?
But Luke said Ambulance, so it made me think, what's like an average movie that I would want to watch? Never watch.
Oh.
And I think Uncharted. I'll just never watch Uncharted. Because why would I?
Uncharted's fun. Uncharted's good.
Fuck no, I'm not watching that. Yeah, Uncharted.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
I didn't know you felt so passionately about that.
Well, I guess I do. I don't know. But yeah, I don't want to. So.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. What about you, Jaden?
When I first brought this thing up to you, I kind of said there's no movie that I want to swear out entirely. There's films that I don't want to watch. There's films that I really don't want to watch. But like to just put a blanket statement of I'm never going to watch this film. I don't like doing because I know.
I understand that. Yeah.
But in saying that, I never want to watch a Catherine Breillant film again. They're just so fucking boring and ugly to look at. Like, I watched two of them. I watched Bluebeard and fucking A Real Young Girl. And they're just dog shit, man. They're just so boring and just the most flat experience you can ever have. They're just, the story sucks, the acting sucks, the sound sucks, the visuals suck. So yeah, I just never want to touch her films again. Although, like, some of them are well received as kind of this French auteur movement, but like, fuck no, I don't want to touch any of them.
You and Andy must have some beef, eh?
Yeah. Well, when he first watched it, I messaged him and I was like, "What the fuck are you thinking, giving it so high?" And then yeah.
And then I never spoke to Andy again.
It's been 4 months.
I came up with so I started Bad Boys. I've watched 20 minutes of Bad Boys, and I couldn't stand it, so I turned it off. And I don't know if that counts because I started it. So I guess like Bad Boys 2, you know what I mean? Just Bad Boys. I don't want to see a second more of Bad Boys, Have you seen Bad Boys, Jane? I feel like you would have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Michael Bay, and I love...
Oh, that is Michael Bay. Holy shit, I didn't even think of that. Oh,
two Michael Bay answers, Ambulance.
Holy shit. So then I started thinking about Paul W.S. Anderson films, and I was like, Resident Evil. I'm probably never going to watch Resident Evil, but I also, like, I've got nothing against it. Like, if, I'd probably throw it on, whatever. I would never throw it on, but if there is a situation where it's, like, on or something, I don't know. I'd
encourage you to watch it.
You encourage me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's slightly encouraging.
I think you'd hate it, but I'd encourage you to watch it.
That's not encouraging. So then, but on the same train of thought, though, I then got to, of course, I believe 2019 or 2020, 2019 or 2020's Monster Hunter from Paul W.S. Anderson and Mila Jovovich, or whatever her name is. And never watching that shit, dude. Oh my God. Like, from the second that you see they're making a Monster Hunter movie, and it's like just modern military with monsters. Like, not, I don't care for Monster Hunter, but it's like got literally nothing to do with Monster Hunter. And the fact that it's Paul W.S. Anderson, and the fact that it looks generic, and the fact that he continues to cast his wife, who's probably quite talented, but still sort of slightly annoys me. Probably Monster Hunter, but also just throwing Bad Boys, Have you seen Bad Boys for Life, actually?
No, I've only seen the first Bad Boys.
Oh, okay. I was always disappointed that Bad Boys for Life wasn't the fourth one. As always, we'd love you to submit your questions, thoughts, reviews for next week's film in the YouTube comment section, or send us a DM on Instagram, or through the Discord server community thing. This week we're asking you, what is your favourite Robert De Niro movie? Ever heard of this man, Robert De Niro? He's in quite a few motion pictures, actually. He's quite old.
Film next week.
Oh yeah, he's in it. Don't you worry. He's in it all right. Fitzy, what are we watching next week?
We're doing Heat next week. Robert De Niro is in fact in Heat. Prime. It's on Prime and Netflix, so
Oh, plenty of options there.
There's like two things that you can do. Yeah.
We're doing Heat, of course, because it is going to be. We've got tons of milestones coming up. Episode 98 will be our 2-year anniversary of the show on the date, or on the week, I should say. And we, of course, started the show with Collateral, was episode 1, a Michael Mann film. And coming full circle 2 years later with Michael Mann's probably, would you say, Fitzy, his most famous, like his most popular famous film? Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. With Heat as well. So it comes full circle. That's why we're doing it. So yeah, give it a watch and we'll see you all then. But that's it for this week's episode. We appreciate everyone listening. We appreciate Jada and Liam for being here, as in like all of us, because otherwise I would just be sitting here doing it. You know, it's kind of boring. No one wants to hear me just talk about Donnie Darko. I'd just be confused the whole time, with no guidance at all. Maybe I should have actually done a solo Donnie Darko episode where I just react to the video essay. Put it in the corner like a Bad Batch reaction. Anyway, have a great rest of your week, everyone, and goodbye.